Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. We have finally got our E3 2021 information. No big shock here. Nintendo has finally told us what day that they are actually coming out on docket, and this is going to be the 15th. This is the Tuesday, right? We all kind of predicted this. Is very typical for what we see from Nintendo. So it is on June 15th, 9 p.m. Pacific time. That's 10 a.m. Mountain. That's 11 Central. That's noon Eastern Standard Time. Again, if we look at where Nintendo has traditionally gone in the past, this is exactly what they do. They do the Tuesday. They're like the last big show before the floor opens to the public. This is not a huge shock. The difference is there's no floor, so to say, to open to. So tune in for a Nintendo Direct with roughly 40 minutes. 40 minutes. It's a pretty hefty Nintendo Direct. So that's good. I think it's a good size of info focused exclusively on Nintendo Switch software. Exclusively on Nintendo Switch software. Important words to read there. This kind of connects a little bit with this rumor that we continue to see. We see some postings, we see some information about potentially the Nintendo Switch Pro coming. So, exclusively about software. If we are indeed going to see the Nintendo Switch, this is basically, or the Switch Pro, this is not going to be at this E3 event. The big rumor right now, and this is right now, it's June, what is it, today's 2nd? June 2nd. It's Wednesday, is that potentially tomorrow, June 3rd, is when we're going to maybe hear that information, with pre-orders going up on June 4th. There's kind of a lot of rumors speculating around that. We've seen some placeholder postings for it from other companies like Amazon. So again, where there's smoke, there's fire. If it's going to happen, I suspect it's going to happen tomorrow. Again, that's Thursday, because next Thursday, that's getting into the Summer Game Fest. You're getting right into E3. Doesn't really make sense. Nintendo has the opportunity to own the space before E3 a little bit more. We talked about this last week's podcast about owning pre-E3 in a lot of ways, and getting your conversation out so that you don't have to yell, in the top of when everyone else is yelling at the exact same time to get their news out. You don't want that stuff to be missed or lost in cycle. This also gives Nintendo the opportunity, if they give the information about the Switch Pro now, it does allow developers and publishers at the show to be able to say, yeah, that's what we're doing, that we're supporting that thing as well. The challenge of it being is that, like, do other publishers or developers actually know of the Switch Pro? Do they know of the schematics, and have they built that into their kind of presentation? That's a tough conversation to say. I would suspect if they have any digital packages, which most of these are, they're probably wrapped up by now. That, production's done, the post work is done, it's done. So for Nintendo to come out tomorrow and be like, hey, we got a Switch Pro, and expecting for third parties to be like, yeah, we know that, and that's the game we're now developing on Switch Pro, or Switch, that's tough to say. Not 100% sure. But again, some interesting commentary here. Focus on software. Mostly releasing in 2021. Interesting, mostly releasing in 2021. So what we see here is that, again, majority of it will be 2021. However, there will be some 2022 games here. This is where we could potentially see, and I think that statement there, mostly releasing in 2021, could be a good indicator that we have stuff like Breath of the Wild 2, maybe a 2022 game, and this is kind of beginning to kind of focus in on that conversation, allowing for that, with this wording, mostly releasing in 2021, allowing them that opportunity to have that conversation to open it up. It could also be, hey, by the way, we do have Metroid Prime 4, we're giving you some information there. We know that one's definitely past 2021. This could also be Pokemon Legends. We do have a 2022 date for that as well. So mostly releasing in 2021. There's some big games that those 4 words could be directly related to. So that'll be interesting as well. Followed by around 3 hours of gameplay at Nintendo Treehouse on E3 2021. Again, they do a great job of transitioning from the Direct over to the Treehouse. And here's some games. We're going to talk with the developers. This is actually where we've seen reveals of other games come out before. I believe this is where we saw Samus Returns on the 3DS come out as well. So although majority of the conversation occurs in the actual Nintendo Direct, there are kind of these little bits and bobs of other piece of information that do occur in that 3 hours post with Treehouse. So I would not kind of just like wash that away and be like, oh, well, the 40 minutes is done. There's a lot of great content there as well. So ladies and gentlemen, the road to E3 It's getting better. We're getting hyped. Again, not a big shock for where Nintendo is landing here. 40 minutes is great. I think this is going to be fantastic. There's a lot of things that this could be. Yeah, I'm excited, folks. I'm really, really excited. And could we be getting the Switch Pro this week? Rumors are pointing towards it. But again, these are only rumors, speculation. I would very much keep your eyes peeled on Nintendo's Twitter feed tomorrow. If you have, like we do, and Nintendo dads, we have like an auto notification every time that Nintendo tweets. Which could be good or could be bad, depending on what you like. Might want to keep your eyes peeled, because I suspect if they're going to do it, it's going to be could be a shadow drop here, or hey, by the way, here's a short, 3-minute video about it, or it's a link to their YouTube channel or something. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, there could be so much information coming out very soon. We're going to be covering it here, of course, in Nintendo Dads. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you like this. Like, subscribe. Let me know, what games are you the most excited for? What are your top Nintendo predictions coming here in E3? Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.